right, hello everyone. I'm Christian Wade and we have Justina Lushnik with us, and we are both program managers for Power BI. So we're going to be talking about Power BI and Azure Data Services working together to provide an end-to-end solution that works for different personas in an enterprise organization. So rather than, we're going to be quite demo intensive, but rather than, this is the SQL DW demo for the data engineer, this is the Azure ML demo for the data scientist, and this is the Power BI data flows demo for the business analyst. We're going to do the demos as different personas using an end-to-end system and show how the system works together across, as an overall solution across different personas in an enterprise organization, okay? All right, so in order for an organization to really leverage Power BI and Azure Data Services as an end-to-end platform, to really make the most of it, these enterprise organizations need to predominantly have a data culture. So I'd just like to cover some of the attributes of organizations seeking to embrace a data culture successfully. And so first off, data literacy is obviously a big deal, and you guys can chime in if you want. We can keep it fairly interactive, but data literacy and the workforce having the necessary tools to access a wide variety of data sources, manipulate data, prepare data, visualize data. We like to think of Power BI as the PowerPoint for data that really enables employees to present their case based on facts rather than kind of opinion-based decision-making, right? Another attribute of such an organization would be ease of data sharing. So there are a few different flavors of data sharing. So we have, for example, peer-to-peer sharing, where business analysts and people in the business can collaborate and share data artifacts easily using a system that allows them to share data artifacts easily and build on each other's work and not have to reinvent the wheel to some degree. And then you've also got the kind of traditional kind of data warehousing and corporate BI data sharing, where IT will create these curated data artifacts that go through a more extensive level of rigor in terms of data classification and data governance and information architecture, and get deployed across environments. And they have application lifecycle management requirements for mission critical systems, and that they kind of drive corporate metrics that are reused throughout enterprise organizations. So all of the above fits into an organization that really embraces a data culture. And really it's more of a cultural thing than a technology thing. The technology facilitates the productive use of data in an organization. And I think we at Microsoft have a platform that is very well differentiated in that respect in terms of facilitating organizations to really get up to speed on a data culture. Okay? Any questions? Any comments? No? Okay. So this is, this is basically a summary of what I just went through. And we'll also cover what are some of the challenges that face organizations seeking to embrace the data culture. So first off is data silos, right, and data fragmentation, which is really poisonous to a data culture. And you see this quite a lot with these big enterprise customers, because there are so many different software vendors for so many different niches, right? You've got software vendors that specialize in big data and small data and enterprise BI and self-service BI and AI, etc. And then you get these different organizations, these different departments in the organization. They've all got their own little preferences, So these large customers end up with just this plethora of different software packages, and each of them end up with their own little data silos and their own little pockets of data that don't integrate very well, that are often stored in different formats, in proprietary formats, and different security models, and in different clouds. And if you try and integrate all of that to create a holistic whole for your organization, it's a real challenge. You've got ingress charges across different clouds and security models, and it just becomes a mess. So this is where I think Microsoft is uniquely positioned to provide an end-to-end solution where you have a unified architecture, a single security model, the data. There shouldn't be any in terms of accessing data, there shouldn't be any architectural barriers, right? You shouldn't need to copy data across clouds. You should just have everything right there. The only barriers should be security and privacy controls, and that's it, right? So we're really targeting this unified architecture, and with Azure Data Services and Power BI, that's what we can provide, okay? Any comments, questions, or anything, or we'll get stuck in? All right. So how does Power BI build on this unified platform? So first off, Power BI works for both self-service and enterprise BI, right? So I'm not sure how familiar you are with these terms, but you know, enterprise BI is the traditional form of business intelligence where IT creates these curated data artifacts for wide reusability. And we at Microsoft have a deep heritage in enterprise BI. One of our key products in this space is called Analysis Services. We also have reporting services that you may be familiar with. So Analysis Services is 20 years old. We have a 20-year heritage in enterprise BI. We're the only vendor to be ranked in the Leaders Quadrant in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for 12 years. 12 years ago, self-service BI didn't even exist as a discipline. None of these modern BI vendors were even on the radar at that point, right? You know, we've got a heritage like no other vendor, and we were the only traditional BI vendor to really embrace self-service BI early on with Power BI, and we now have a unified platform that provides allows the business and IT to collaborate. You know, the end user, most end users just want to see the data in the report. They don't know whether this was prepared by someone in IT or some business. They just want to see the data, and having a single entry point that works for both those types of BI scenarios is a real, just simplifies things a lot. Okay, then we've also got, we also work in terms of data prep for the unified data lake. So all of the demos that Justina and I are going to show, they all read and write to a single unified data lake based on ADLS Gen 2. And again, that's going back to having a single unified architecture where you don't need to copy data across clouds. Everything is right there. You're only limited by security and privacy. And not only that, but all of the tools and technologies and products that we're going to demo, SQL DW, Azure ML, Databricks, ADF, Power BI data flows, all of these tools and products, they all read and write data in a standard format called the common data model, which is something that Satya mentioned in his keynote yesterday. So the whole point there is that all of these tools and products can read and write in the same open standard format, right? There's no proprietary format. Even third-party non-Microsoft tools could come in and read and write that data if they want to just make that data interchange across the different products and therefore across the different personas that much more straightforward, okay? And last but by no means least, pervasive and unified AI for BI. So some of the demos that Justine is going to show are absolutely mind-blowing. It's really exciting to see that we're really augmenting business intelligence with AI in really phenomenal ways. And the whole thing here is just making AI accessible to non-technical business users, putting it right there in the tools and the products that they use and making it approachable, right? So as Justine is going to show, putting it right there in Power BI for the business analyst and making it easy to consume. That's therefore going to increase the demand for AI. So we therefore need to increase the supply for AI as well. And because traditionally data science might have been kind of restricted a little bit to the data scientist could become a bit of a bottleneck in the organization because it's quite tedious, repetitive work to train these AI models. So to accelerate the delivery of AI, we use AutoML to automatically train these models and identify the optimum model. And with AutoML, there's more model training going on. So you want to use the computational power of Azure to accelerate the delivery of AI to then meet the demand. Okay? Make sense? Comments, questions, feedback? Yes, go ahead. Yes, so the question, thank you for the question. The question was, is there any more information about the common data model in this session? Yes, Justina we'll be going into that in quite a bit of detail, and I'll be covering it a little bit as well. And we can refer you to the really deep dive resources. Maybe if you come and talk to us after the session, we can put you in contact with those as well. But yes, we will be drilling into the common data model. Okay, any others? No? Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned common data model as a format of exchange data across the system.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Azure's native storage, data lake and block storage, are you also then somehow saying that common data model can be utilized there?
Yes. Yes. Yes, so the question was around using the common data model format in the data lake with the native access protocols for the data lake, as I understood it. So yes, we will be showing that. So the common data model basically just stores the data in the data lake using a CSV file and a model.json file that describes the schema, so that these tools have native connectors that will read and write in that format, which then makes it interchangeable across these applications. Okay? All right. And just before we jump into the demos, it's worth pointing out that, this is the new Gartner Magic Quadrant as of February. As you can see, Microsoft is over there in the top right. This is for BI and analytic platforms. We're the only vendor, as I said, who to be ranked in the Leaders Quadrant for the last 12 years. And the reason that we are recognized by research agencies, by Gartner, is precisely because we embrace these waves early on, right? And we're drivers of these waves. Things like augmenting BI with AI, things like the convergence of self-service and enterprise BI on a single all-inclusive platform, okay? All right. So, as I mentioned, the way that we will deal with the way that we will approach the demos, rather than be kind of technology or product focused, we're going to interact with the system and assume different personas, right? Not personalities, just the personas. So we'll start off with the decision maker, who in this case is a sales manager using Dynamics 365, who makes a discovery, has a data insight, and being a sales manager, he shares it with the whole company, and then it starts this chain reaction, and all these other personas in the organization participate in the kind of story of this data insight, okay? So thank you very much, Justina. So I'm going to now impersonate the sales manager. So this is going to be the quickest demo, and then we'll move on to the other stuff like SQLDW, Databricks, and Power BI, and Azure ML, okay? So I'm here in the Dynamics 365 homepage, and I've heard about this Sales Insights app, so I want to try the preview, and I've got one loaded here. So immediately, it is loaded with all of the data for my organization. I can see whether I'm on target to meet the quota for the quarter. I can see the performance of my individual sales reps. I can interact with them by leaving a note. I can then go to this business tab where I'm loaded with a bunch of insights like predictive analytics, and there's a bunch of AI built into here, like we have a machine learning model to rank opportunities in the pipeline, to identify opportunities that are have a high probability of high revenue but being at risk of being lost, so therefore I can take action as a sales manager, and then I can have a conversation with the system in English. So I've already loaded one here. So I think you can see here that I misspelt it and it still understood me. So I've typed in show our pipeline funnel, and it's picked the pre-built visuals that it feels is most relevant to the question. And if I ask a different question, like show opportunities by revenue, and then if it doesn't actually find a visual, it will just generate one on the fly, which is what it's doing now. So it's using the Q&A type functionality that is is used by Power BI and Microsoft Research, so it's just generated a visual there for me. Okay, so then now as the, do you want to switch back to slide? Thank you. So then as a sales manager, I go around telling the whole company how amazing these insights are, and then my friend Justina, who is the business analyst, wants to validate that what I'm actually talking about is really true. So she's going to dig to the next level of detail in terms of these sales insights.
Awesome. Thank you, Christian. So over here, we've gone through the decision maker's persona, but the important thing to kind of highlight is we could have really started the flow at any of these boxes. So while we're kind of, starting at a very high level with a decision maker being able to spin up this application and getting insights in literally seconds, we could start with the data from the business analyst perspective or even from a data engineer. So really, this process is, at the moment it kind of makes sense to go through these boxes, but you could be jumping in and interjecting at any point. So in my case, Christian has gone around, told the whole company, gave me a bunch of new work to do, where I have to pull in the data, from Dynamics, no worries, and start building. Basically, I want to start building some custom reports because we want to get more insights. We want to go ahead and customize these reports, bring in some custom logic, some custom metrics, and we want to build these reports directly inside Power BI. So I'm going to jump into my machine over here. And the first thing I need to do is really pull the data into Power BI to start doing my data preparation. So, and out of curiosity, before I start, how many of you guys have used Power BI before? Awesome. How many of you have used data flows? Okay, so not as many. So, and how many of you have heard of data flows at all? Okay, so data flows, if you're familiar with Power BI and Power Query in terms of how you prepare your data flows is essentially the enterprise data preparation version of that, where you can start decoupling your data preparation away from your reporting layer. So if, I'm starting out inside Power BI service, I've got my dashboards, my reports, and I've got this new tab over here called data flows. And what I'm going to do first off is just create a data flow from scratch end to end, a very, very simple data flow, pull in Dynamics data, and then I'm going to show you what else you can do with data flows inside Power BI. So I'm going to create a new data flow here. I could create myself, a new dashboard report. I'm going to select data flows, and I'm going to define new entities. And we'll talk about what linked entities versus new entities are as well. And as you can see, we have a ton of different connectors that we can use. In this particular case, I want to go ahead and select my common data service over here. And I'm just going to provide it with my Dynamics tenant URL over here. So I'm going to connect to Dynamics. I'm going to sign in as a different user. And I'm just going to copy. Let's see if I've already got signed in. Yep, I'm here. OK. And I'm just going to provide my password, sign in. And hopefully I'm not going to misspell that. Awesome. And then I'm going to select next. And then the next thing I can do, of course, is select which entities I want to go ahead and pull out from my Dynamics instance. So we saw, Christian was looking at a Sales Insights app, so we want to probably have some things around our account. We want to have some things maybe about our leads over here. And I'm just going to pull in a couple because here I just want to demonstrate the end-to-end process of creating a data flow, but we're not going to be using this data flow for the rest of the demo. So it doesn't matter if we just have a couple of them here. So I'm going to pull in 3 entities as I've done here, and I'm going to go into the next screen. And what you'll notice as I'm going through this process, if you've used Power Query or Power BI before, this should look very, very familiar. And we're basically embedded the Power Query experience directly inside the web to make sure that this data transformation ETL kind of processes that an analyst can do as part of data flows is a very familiar experience for them. So, if I want to go ahead and let's say, change a particular date. So maybe I want to change this from a date to date time. And again, these are kind of just fictitious, steps that I'm doing. But I really want to highlight that, we've got our applied steps. So, everything will refresh in that particular order. And if I'm happy with the data transformations that I've done, I can just go ahead and save and close this. This is going to take a couple of seconds to validate the queries. And this is basically how I can create, entities within my data flow. If I wanted to, I could pull in from other data sources to basically augment my data flow. But in this case, I'm just going to call this my CRM opportunities, and I'm going to save it over here. So, this is basically how you go about creating a data flow. This is a very, very simple data flow where I've just pulled in data from Dynamics and saved it. But if we just jump into this next tab over here, you can see that these data flows can get a little bit more complicated. And I'm going to zoom into this because it's very hard to see. But basically what I've done here is each of these boxes that you see with this little icon is a data flow. So I've got 4 data flows here in total. And I'm ingesting data from lots of different sources, even multiple sources within one data flow. And I'm basically creating these. I like to think of data flows as reusable, repeatable ETL processes that just exist inside Power BI. Again, you can see there's nothing to do with my reporting here. I'm just preparing my data right now. And I can basically, as I create these data flows, you will see I can then go ahead and connect multiple different reports to the same data flow and create lots of different reports on top of it. What I can also do is I can link entities together. So you'll notice these little lines over here where I've basically got the little numbers in here saying how many entities I'm pulling from one data flow to the next. And I can essentially start consolidating my different siloed data together into a unified data flow. So here, I'm going ahead and bringing in like my fiscal targets, my CRM opportunities, my sales invoices to get a holistic view of what my pipeline versus goals versus actuals look like. And you'll notice that these lines over here, they're not actually, I didn't go ahead and author them. I didn't go ahead and draw these lines. Power BI did that for me because Power BI understands all of the functional dependencies. And again, we want to make this sort of data preparation on top of the data lake for the analysts really simple. So we don't want to have them worry about orchestration and overwriting data, if they're bringing data from different places, what if there are different schedules in place. We handle all of that for you. So we ensure that as you use these data flows as building blocks to build on top of each other, you're never going to end up overwriting data or doing anything, in that kind of, that might be detrimental to your work. So, the other important thing, which, we've both kind of mentioned, is data flows are built on top of the Azure Data Lake. So as an analyst, I'm just pulling in data using Power Query, using tools I'm familiar with, but I'm actually doing data preparation on top of the data lake. Now, Power BI has a built-in data lake that it will just use out of the box, but where things start to become really, really powerful is when we start actually plugging in our own Azure Data Lake behind the scenes. So as the tenant admin, I can go ahead, or as a workspace admin, I can change the storage type to actually use a data lake that's been created inside our own Azure subscription. And you'll see something cool here. So I'm going to switch this into the sort of list view, and I'm going to pop up the Azure Storage Explorer over here. And we're going to zoom into this a little bit to make it easier to see. But first, let's just take a look here. You can see that I'm actually connected to ADLS Gen 2. That's what I've got ahead and brought in over here. And I've got my different blob containers. And you'll see there's actually just a Power BI blob container that is present inside my data lake. So what we see on the right-hand side is actually all of the workspaces that are being used to save data in the data lake in Power BI. So I'm going to scroll down and find my Sales Insights workspace, and that will be a little bit higher up. And you'll see that this is our Sales Insights workspace. And then you'll see that the same data that we have inside our Power BI data flows is present as CDM folders inside the data lake over here. And this is where it starts to get really, really powerful because Power BI can read and write the CDM folders, but as you will see throughout the demo, so can Azure Data Factory, and so can Azure Databricks or Azure Notebooks. So what we can start doing is consolidating all of our data into one place. If I, as the analyst, have ingested data from Dynamics, prepared it, saved it as a data flow, I can now collaborate, as you'll see, with my data engineer. I can collaborate with my citizen app developer because Power Apps also reads and write data flows. And even third parties can go ahead and write these data flows as well because it's an open format. So we can all collaborate on top of the same data and minimize data redundancies very, very easily. So let's take a look at what basically a CDM folder looks like inside. So I'm going to jump into my CRM opportunities that you saw me bring in earlier. And you'll see over here, we have folders for all of the different entities we have. So we have our accounts, our opportunities, and these are just saved as CSV extracts. So it's just CSV files that are saved in all of our different entities. But the real kind of glue that brings all these things together is this model.json file that you see over here. And that essentially provides all the metadata definitions, all the transformations that happen essentially inside our data flows. So I'm going to just download this over here to give you guys a bit of a sneak peek of what this looks like. I'm going to save it in a folder, and we're going to open this up. I've just saved this here, and we're going to edit it with Notepad. Nope. And we can basically see over here, we have our model.json file. So it's a JSON descriptor. And if we go ahead and take a look, for example, over here, we've got our account entity. We've got all of the attributes of the account entity, all of the transformations saved. So this is really essentially the glue between all of these services. This is the file that Power BI can read and write, and so can all the different Azure Data Services. As you'll see later on, if let's say we use something like Databricks to maybe do some enrichments on top of this data and write a new CDM folder, Power BI can just read that as an external data flow. Again, as an analyst, I'm just reading another data flow into Power BI that just happens to be coming from a different workspace. But what we really want to do is we want to ensure that the analyst, the data scientist, the data engineer, the citizen developer can all collaborate together on the same data, but leveraging their own tools so they don't have to cross over into each other's worlds. They can work on top of their own tools, but collaborate on top of the same data. So let's now jump into Power BI for a second. So I've gone ahead, prepared all my data, and now let's take a look at what the reporting looks like. So I could go ahead, if I wanted to start from scratch, and just get data. And you'll notice that we have this new connector inside Power BI. We have Power BI data sets, but we now also have Power BI data flows. So I can just connect to Power BI data flows and create multiple different reports on top of it. And I'm not going to do this from scratch just to save time, but I just wanted to show you that we have all of the different workspaces over here. We have our Sales Insights workspace at the bottom, so I could connect to that, bring in my entities, and start creating my reports. Now, I've already gone ahead and gotten started inside Power BI over here. Christian wanted some custom reports, so I've gone ahead, started building them out. You can use Power BI to, let's say, find insights quickly in data. Here, for example, we have our performance across quarters. We can see there's been an increase in Q4. If I want to analyze this, explain the increase, Power BI is going to run some analytics for me. I can see this increase is mostly coming from one of my salespeople. Angela over here has actually had a huge increase in her actual deal size. That's kind of interesting. Maybe Christian will want to know that. I can add that to my report, add it to my, and just use Power BI. It sounds like you guys are very familiar with Power BI, so I'm not going to go into how you can author different visuals inside here, but very quickly start creating my custom reports, custom KPIs, metrics, and so on. But now I want to actually maybe do even more of this data because Christian, the business user, has been demanding more. They want to bring in more data together. So we're going to actually flip over and take a look at what the data engineer can do with some of this data and the data inside the common data model folders.
Thank you very much, Justina. That was very, very cool. So so the work that Justina did in the organization has just taken off, and now IT has been asked to take this Dynamics 365 data and operationalize the ETL for it and integrate that data into the corporate data warehouse for reusability throughout the organization. All right, so I'm now going to switch hats to the data engineer who's going to leverage the data that Justina exposed in the organization and is now in the data lake. Okay? So, switch over. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm now using Azure Data Factory, which is, who here knows of Azure Data Factory? Okay, the majority of you. So you'll know that it's an ETL service to create, monitor, and schedule data pipelines. So there is some kind of overlap in terms of the functionality between Azure Data Factory and Power BI Data Flows, but the persona is different, right? So Power BI Data Flows was targeted at the business analyst, whereas this is more for operationalizing the ETL for and supports deployment across environments and check into source control and application lifecycle management, and so the persona in this case is a data engineer who works in IT, all right? And so I'm going to take the Dynamics 365 product data that Justina exposed in the data lake. I'm going to read it using the common data model format. I'm also going to take some data from SAP, and I'm going to put it in the data lake as well. Again, it's going to be stored using the common data model format. And then I'm going to use Azure Databricks to perform a merge operation. So here we have a Databricks notebook that is parameterized by the folders in ADLS. And so the Databricks notebook, if you see here, we're just creating pointers to the model.json files, which have all of the schema information. And we then will read the dynamics data and the SAP data. So as you can see here, we're just reading the CDM file, and we're dynamically inferring the schema. All right. So Databricks has a kind of native connector for these CDM entities, and then I will use Spark SQL to actually perform the merge operation, potentially based off some master data management key. And then I'm going to write a new version of product, the golden version of product, as it were, to a new CDM entity, all right, that will generate a new model.json file. And this is going to have the attributes across both of the source systems in a single integrated version of product. I will then load this into the data warehouse, and this happens to be an absolutely huge data warehouse. Who was here for Scott Guthrie's keynote? Anyone? Okay, so you may have seen this data warehouse there. It's an absolute beast of a data warehouse. It's 30,000 DWU. This is over 4,000 cores. This has 20 terabytes of memory. This is a petabyte of data, and they let us have access to it because we're Power BI and we deal in petabytes all the time. No, seriously, like we can interactively create reports on top of petabyte scale data sets. In fact, what I've got here is, let me just hide these, and I'm going to go with this line item table is the big one that has the most rows in it. So if I find this measure, and you can see right here, this is simply the count of the rows in the table, right? So I'm going to casually drag this onto the canvas. If you've seen Scott Guthrie's keynote, they've kind of stolen my thunder a little bit. I normally say, how many rows do you think are in here? Like 100 million rows, and no, a billion. Well, actually, this is, lo and behold, 6 trillion rows. This is a petabyte of data. And as you can see, I'm just getting instant response times over a petabyte of data. Like, as we know the technology up until pretty recently, this should be physically impossible, right? I'm getting instant response times over a petabyte of data, and I'm going to break out discrete order count by, let me find date here. I'm going to make it a bar chart. I'm going to break it out by the division. I'm going to make it nice and big. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to filter it by just the shipments delayed. All right, and now I'm going to use this cross-filtering feature in Power BI where I can just click on any random part of the report and it will intelligently cross-filter other visuals. And I'm now going to find out which are the distribution centers for the beauty and personal care delayed shipments on this date where we had a spike. And now I want to drill through to the details for this particular distribution center. So the reason this has been super fast is that it's been hitting the in-memory aggregated cache in Power BI, right? So we create an aggregated cache, which is very small in terms of memory consumption, right? Over this massive data set. And then if we drill through to the detail level where there is no cache, it will then just on the fly submit a direct query to SQL Data Warehouse, right? And then it came back really fast because SQL Data Warehouse can optimize for these targeted queries pretty easily. You can, if you know where the query is going to land, you can index for it and everything. Whereas at the aggregated level, which could be touching many different tables and lots of different data, you hit the Power BI cache. You catch the majority of the queries there with a tiny little bit of memory consumption, and then the queries that do get through to the data warehouse, you protect the concurrency limits in your data warehouse. but then the queries that do get through are more targeted and easier to optimize for, and you end up with this balanced architecture. And I'll be going into this in a lot more detail in my session in about 2 hours. Okay, so this is the aggregations feature in Power BI, which unlocks these massive data sets at petabyte scale over SQL Data Warehouse, Azure Databricks, and pretty much any of our direct query sources. Okay, so we've now integrated this into the data warehouse. We've got a huge data warehouse. The business is using it. It's driving decisions in a consistent way throughout the data warehouse. But throughout the organization. And now it's got over to the AI group, and they've got wind of it, and now they want a piece of the action as well.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Christian. Yes. So, our business user now has these custom reports in Power BI. They have reports for shipment delays on top of their SQL DW, but they want more. They now want reports that have more machine learning built into them too. Now, what we can do is, of course, as you saw, the app had some built-in models, but maybe you want to customize models. You want to build, you want your data scientists to build their own machine learning models using the Azure Data Services. So, not a problem. What we're going to do is we're going to start here inside our Azure notebooks, and I'm just going to flip over to the screen. And so, Azure Notebooks is a place where you can go ahead and create Jupyter notebooks on top of Azure. So you can write, let's say in this case, we'll be writing some Python code to create ourselves a machine learning experiment. And we're going to be using this technology that Christian mentioned earlier called automated ML. So automated ML is built on top of Azure Machine Learning, which is our machine learning toolkit for data scientists. But automated ML essentially automates a bunch of the processes for you. So as you'll see over here, what it essentially does is you give it a bunch of parameters, and then it's going to essentially do feature selection for you, algorithm selection, hyperparameter tuning. It's going to iterate through lots and lots of different models for you, and it's going to create the best possible model it can, and that's the one that's going to basically get returned. But before we do that, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at this notebook that we have over here. And there's something that I wanted to draw your attention to right over here, which is the fact that we're basically, again, reading in our model.json file. So again, if you want to use Azure Notebooks and you want to have some data in the data lake that has been prepared and you want to read it in, not a problem. You can read it in the same format, read in the model.json file, automatically understand the schema. So we can see we've converted this to a data frame now, and we were seeing and visualizing our opportunities entity that we brought in earlier. And then we're going to do some transformations using Python. We're going to go ahead and clean this data up a little bit, just reduce it down to the features that we want to be using for the machine learning model. And then this is where we actually configure automated ML. So you will see over here that we need to give it a number of different parameters. For example, we're going to tell it that we want to create a regression model because we want to create a model that will tell us whether an opportunity, what's the close probability likelihood of an opportunity. So between 0 to 100. And then we're going to give it a label whether we think it's likely to close or not. You can go ahead and offer things like, what's your primary metric that you're trying to optimize for? So what's your cost function? In this case, we want to optimize for the root square mean error. How many iterations do you want to run? Do you want to blacklist any model? So you have quite a lot of granular control. But then behind the scenes, automated ML is going to basically run. It's going to go and do lots of different, oops, I did not want to do that. Iterate through lots of different models, through lots of different algorithms with different parameter tunings. And then you can basically retrieve the best model that we went ahead and found. So then we're going to go ahead and create a scoring script. And once we're happy with the model, we can basically deploy it. And that's what we're going to kind of do here at the end, where we're basically going to create a container image, and we're going to deploy the image as a web service on Azure Container. And so, again, as a data scientist, I can collaborate with the analysts and work on top of the same data, but I'm going to work inside my own tool set, which I am comfortable with. I don't want to go into Power BI to create my machine learning models. I want to use things like a Jupyter Notebook. I want to use Python code, and I can absolutely do that. But now we have a bit of a challenge because we want to actually expose this model directly to the analyst inside Power BI. And that's not a problem. We're going to be able to do that too. So once this model is deployed, you can, of course, see it as an Azure resource inside the Azure portal. If you wanted to take a little bit of a closer look at the iterations that it ran, you could go ahead and do that in a more visual way as well. So let's jump into our opportunity model here, jump into our runs. So you can actually see over here how we've went ahead and we're optimizing our root mean squared error. So you can see we're kind of minimizing that with every new model that we create. But the important thing I want to do here is I want to go into my access control, and I'm going to go ahead and add a new role assignment. So if I'm the data scientist and I want to expose these models into the Power BI reports, and let's for a second say the data scientist is not the analyst, they're not the same person, it's going to be someone else, all they have to do is specify a role, such as a contributor, and then they have to basically find the analyst in this list over here, and then can go ahead and just share this model. So that's as easy as it is for the data scientist to now collaborate with the analyst. We know that with data scientists, the model gets created, and often, it's kind of hard to share these models with business users in a kind of consumable and meaningful way. So this is a really easy way to expose this to Power BI and then build interactive reports on top of it. And let's take a look at what that will look like. So I'm going to jump back into my data flows, the ones we started with at the beginning. And let's kind of go and zoom in a little bit over here. Let's zoom into our CRM opportunities. I want to essentially enrich my opportunity entity with this machine learning model that has been created and shared with me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to edit this particular data flow. And then I'm going to jump into opportunities over here, and I'm going to edit this entity. And now you'll notice that we have this new button inside Power BI, inside the Power Query editor and data flows called AI Insights. If you want to learn more about this, I have a session tomorrow morning looking at Power BI AI, and we're going to go into a lot more detail with this. But basically, if we jump into AI Insights, and this is going to take a second to load because I have a lot of machine learning models, what we're doing is we're taking Azure technologies and we're building them directly into Power BI so that basically our analysts can benefit from them too. So tomorrow I'm going to go into more details of how we've integrated cognitive services directly into Power BI. But today I want to show you the fact that you can share Azure machine learning models. Now you might say, yeah, Justina, but we just built an automated machine learning model, not an Azure machine learning model. From once it's deployed as a web service, it's essentially the same thing. It's using the same technology behind the scenes. So your Azure machine learning web services are basically the same thing as your automated ML web services. So in this case, we've got a list of different models that were created. And here's my opportunity scoring model that has been shared with me. And as an analyst, all I have to do now is basically map this model to the schema, or map my data to the schema that the model expects. So I've got the fields that the model is expecting. And I could go ahead and look through the list of things I have inside my opportunity entity and start mapping these essentially to my data. I'm not going to go ahead and map all of this right now just for the purpose of time. So I'll show you what it looks like once we've actually, you can see here, invoked the Azure Machine Learning Opportunity Model and expanded out because it's a nested column. So let's jump all the way to the right-hand side over here. And you'll basically see what we've created is 2 new additional columns to my opportunity entity, which is my opportunity close probability score, so how likely am I to close this opportunity, and then we've assigned it a label based on the threshold we set. So for example, imagine we set anything above let's say 70 is a yes, and anything below is a no, or something of that sort. And so essentially now we've gone ahead and enriched our data with the machine learning model that the data scientist has created. So if we jump back into Power BI, into my original report, we can now start doing more complex things. So we can, for example, surface the model in some of our reporting artifacts. So here, for example, we've actually plotted predicted opportunity conversion. So if we look at the y-axis over here, we have the confidence of closing this opportunity, which is anywhere from, let's say, 0 to 100. And then we've also plotted it by the estimated revenue. So how much is this opportunity worth? So I can start very quickly as a business user figuring out which opportunities I should be focusing on. Here, for example, we have an opportunity that has quite high estimated revenue, but we can see that the confidence of closing it is pretty low. So I can select this opportunity here and cross-filter my entire report. I can see, for example, that this is bank publishing. I can see what our pipeline with them looks like, and our deal size with them for let's say the past quarters. So maybe as my next step is I want to follow up with the salesperson and ensure that they're focusing on this opportunity because it's something that's very important for us. Now, I wanted to also show you quickly, slightly go off on a little bit of a tangent, but we have the same technology that I just showed you, which is our automated machine learning technology, built directly into Power BI. So, in the case of a data scientist, they do want to use their Azure notebooks to create their machine learning models. But what if, the analyst wanted to be a little bit brave and go ahead and start dabbling in machine learning and not go off and venturing into the Azure world? Well, now they can do that too with just directly inside Power BI. So I'm going to change the scenario a little bit. I'm actually going to be looking at customers who are subscribing to my cloud service. And in this case, we basically got a basic report that looks at the new customers who came in, let's say in the month of February, along with their interests, their roles, and regions. And imagine we want to use Power BI to just add some machine learning to this. If I jump back into Power BI over here, you'll see that again I'm inside data flows. I'm inside my entities, and I have my historical customer feedback. So imagine we've gone ahead and surveyed customers who have used our service for a couple of months, and we figure out which customers are happy and not so happy with our service. And you'll notice in Power BI, we have this kind of brain icon with a lightning bulb. It just shows you how intelligent it is. But basically, this is our icon for machine learning in Power BI. And if I select this, what we can do is actually add a machine learning model. Now, if we remember what we saw inside the Azure notebooks, and I'm going to just jump back into this just for a second. We went ahead and populated all of these parameters, such as we want a regression, and we want to run this many iterations and so on. We're going to use Power BI to essentially define all these things, but in more of a point-and-click way, which our analysts, again, are more used to working with. So the first thing I need to do is define what is the entity that what is the column that I actually want to predict. So in my case, this is going to be actually whether we got a high rating or not. We're going to be creating a binary classification, and high rating is basically a true or false column saying, yes, we received a high rating from this customer or we didn't. And then when I click next, Power BI is going to take a couple of seconds to take a look at the column that I've selected, and it's going to kind of tell us which models it's essentially thinks that we should be able to leverage over here. And this is, okay. So we can see these are the kinds of models that we can create. And because I have a binary field, I want to create a binary prediction model. So then the next thing I'm going to do is going to select which data do I want to use for this particular model. And again, this is just me selecting my features. Before we did that in code. Now in Power BI, I can just, if I don't agree with the selection that Power BI has sort of recommended here, I can change these around. And that's pretty much it. Then I just give my model a name. So for example, customer feedback. And I tell it what does a true outcome label mean and what does a false outcome mean. So true outcome would be high risk, basically. And let's say false outcome would be low risk in this particular case. But if I was to hit save right now, what we saw happen with the Azure notebooks would basically happen here. We would run through and iterate through lots of different models, do the feature selection, algorithm selection, hyperparameter tuning to try and build the best model. That's going to take a couple of minutes, so I'm not going to do that live here. Instead, I'm actually going to show you what you would get inside Power BI. And so here's the machine learning model I built earlier. They're exactly on the same type of data. And what I can do is view this performance report to take a look at how well my model is performing. And what you'll notice over here is we've actually built a custom report to try and help explain to the analyst what the machine learning model is saying. So we, for example, have some visuals for giving you how many true negatives versus false negatives, true positives versus false positives, and so on. We give you your precision recall. And on the right-hand side, we give you a detailed explanation of what all of these metrics are saying. Because again, our analysts are not data scientists, so we want to make sure we're very transparent. At the top, we also have information about the sample, what kind of model we fit. And you can go ahead and tweak things like the probability threshold and see how things interactively change. And the final thing I wanted to show you is what else you can do with automated ML inside Power BI. So I'm going to jump into this report that I showed you earlier, and I'm going to jump into this customer risk page, which I've plotted. So the first page was just descriptive statistics, and now we can move into predictive statistics. So we went ahead and we had a risk score for every single customer we had. In the first model, we actually were aggregating that data a little bit and bringing in other things such as our estimated revenue. Here, we actually want to see things row by row. So if we look at which of our near customers are basically at risk of giving us low survey responses in the future. And here, for example, we can see that, let's say, James or Megan have a pretty high risk score. So what I can do is I can select Megan over here. And this waterfall chart is really cool because what this gives us is not only row-level predictions, but row-level explanations. So automated ML is actually providing us row-level explanations as how it derived each of the predictions that we see inside our report. So we're trying, again, to bring as much transparency to these models as we can. So here, for example, we can see that the fact that Megan was using the mobile app for interacting with our cloud service is actually increasing her risk. The fact she opened a lot of tickets, and you can see that if I hover over this, for example, the ticket count is high, is also increasing her risk. The things on the right-hand side, such as maybe the fact that she's in a smaller company, are reducing her risk. And that's how we essentially derive, this number of 88. We can see what are things pushing it up and pushing it down. So firstly, it gives us transparency to the model, but secondly, it also gives us maybe some ideas of how we can ensure that maybe Megan has a better experience in the future. So again, if you want to learn more about these technologies, blatantly I'm going to advertise my session tomorrow morning. We're going to go into a lot more detail of Power BI plus AI. But with that, I want to jump back into the slides and just do a little bit of a recap of, actually before the recap, a lot of, I get this question a lot, so I did add this slide in of, what is, when do people use automated ML in Power BI versus when do they use it in Azure? And, as we integrate more closely between Azure and Power BI, we get a lot of more of these questions. So again, we want to really provide clarity on when someone would be using which technology, because the capabilities are maybe they overlap, but there is clear use cases for when you would be using one versus the other. Firstly, there's the persona use case, the fact that automated ML in Power BI, it's really meant for the analyst versus the data scientist who would be using it, or the data engineer who would be using it inside Azure. The skill set linked to the persona is very different. One is Power Query, data flows, more of a kind of drag and drop, a kind of type of analysis, whereas inside Azure, it's really working with things like Azure Notebooks, Python, so very different skill set. Another thing that you may want to consider is where you want to use this model when you're thinking about how you're going to operationalize it. If this model is going to be purely for your analytics and you're going to be using it just for Power BI, then Power BI is probably where you want to be creating your machine learning model. If you want to be plugging it into other maybe business processes, maybe things like your logic apps or scoring it with other data outside of Power BI, then probably Azure if you want to reuse that model in other places. And finally, there's a different subscription model. For Power BI, we're looking at Power BI Premium, whereas in Azure, it's looking at really leveraging your Azure subscription. So with that, just to wrap up, I just want to kind of quickly show you guys the slide and talk a little bit about all the technologies that we talked about today. So we showed you how you can, have kind of almost peel the onion a little bit, start with a very high-level use case of a business user interacting with some of their, business application data, to then using Power BI for your self-service data prep, for doing interactive analysis on top of things like, SQL DW, as well as leveraging, things like automated ML directly inside Power BI. And here, what I really wanted to highlight is Power BI can often be the entry point where we start bringing in data and iterating on top of our data, but it can also be kind of the feedback loop back into Power BI after we've done some more complex transformations, such as we saw with the data warehouse scenario or the AI scenario, where we go back into Power BI and visualize these results. And again, maybe we're a little bit biased because we are from the Power BI team, but Azure Data Services are so powerful. There's so much you can do to transform, add predictive power. But I really think that Power BI provides that kind of visualization layer that often really brings the message to the business users. When they see it in Power BI, they really get it. Whereas versus when you show them some code, or even I was an R user before I was a Power BI user. I was like, I don't need Power BI. I can do everything in R. But really, being able to provide that really nice interface, interactive analytics, and being able to plug in your predictive things but into Power BI really provides that buy-in from the business. So it's super important. We talked about Azure Data Factory and how that complements Power BI for that kind of data ingestion and transformation layer. Leveraging things like Databricks and Azure Machine Learning for data preparation and machine learning, and then storing all that curated data in Azure SQL DW. And of course, the really important thing is having that Azure Data Lake storage at the bottom as kind of the glue for the common data model, where all of that data is basically being stored, and all of these data services are interacting on top of that data. So session takeaways, again, integrating with other data services on top of the unified data lake for that kind of cross collaboration. Christian showed you that interactive analysis over petabyte scale data sets. If you want to learn more about that, check out Christian's session. And then pervasive AI, whether you're starting in Azure, whether you're starting in Power BI, we'll be covering more of that tomorrow as well. So here are the sessions if you guys want to check out any of the other ones we have. And we have 5 minutes left, so if you guys have any questions, we'd love to take them now. Thank you. Yes, I think if we have mics on either side, so it would be easier, I think, just so everyone else can hear the question too. So if you don't mind popping over, thank you.
The data pipelines that you showed, are they also available in Power BI embedded? As an ISV, we face this problem. Like we have a ton of data, but then our users want to bring their data in, want to mash up, create their own dashboards. Is that available or it's coming?
Yeah, so data flows, we actually have a lot of ISVs who are extending the common data model with their own entities and building applications, leveraging data flows, and then creating basically embedded applications for their users. I'm just trying to think if there are any sessions that cover that. We did a session yesterday, so you could check it out maybe on demand around how kind of more from the Power Platform and ISV kind of scenario and how the common data model kind of plays in with data flows and that. But I'm not sure if there are any other sessions where we go into. There's a Power BI embedded session that might be worth checking out. I'm not sure if they're going to be covering data flows and CDM there, but they'll be the right PMs to talk to kind of in more detail about that too.
Yep.
Yes.
Similar question: is data flows premium only or available in Pro?
Okay, so the question is data flows premium only or still available in Pro? So data flows are available in Pro. Some of the features of data flows are only available in premium though. So the ability to link different entities together is a premium feature because that requires some additional computation. But just to create data flows, to hook it up to your Azure Data Lake, that's available in Pro. Yeah, the common data, storing the data in common data models is available in Power BI Pro.
If we need to do some custom transformation on the data either before it goes up, or at what point would you do custom? So the data's in SQL Server, for example, but there's some proprietary data in there that needs to be transformed. Where would you do that?
So again, depending on which persona you were, whether if you wanted to use Power BI with data flows or you wanted to use ADF, Azure Data Factory as a data engineer, that's really where you would be essentially preparing your data before it lands inside the reports. So I didn't really go into a lot of the data transformation capabilities of data flows. I kind of just showed how you can ingest the data and store it. But Power Query has, I think, over 300, I want to say, transformations, that you're able to carry out on top of the data, whether it's removing columns or, creating new custom columns based on the data, or, replacing values, removing nulls, all those sorts of things. Is there any transformations?
But if you want to do a custom transformation, so it's a proprietary, there's a field and it's a proprietary binary format that you want to extract. We've got some C# code which will do that extraction, for example. Can you run that anywhere?
So you would probably be looking then to run that inside Azure Data Factory.
Yeah, you could. There's a .NET component for Azure Data Factory. You can run, obviously, you can load the data into a staging database. You can, run ELT processes on the data. And then you can write it back in CDM format so it can be consumed from data flows. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
One more.
So the data factory and the data flows, can you bounce between them? So can I start with a data flow and then access the underlying ADF and develop that further and use data flow really as facilitating a starting point?
There's no way of kind of migrating the from one to the other, but they both would store the data in the CDM format, so they would both be able to consume the output from each other, but there's no way of kind of migrating the package from one to the other.
Yeah, our recommendation would be start with one, write the data into CDM, and then the other can just read that as a new data flow and create, again, enriched data, which, yeah.
Right.
Hello.
You mentioned external data flows. Could you expand on that?
Yeah, so I can really quickly show that and show kind of what that looks like. So let me jump into Power BI for a second. I'm not sure if it's been, yeah. So here, basically, you know, if I go ahead and define new entities, I can also attach a common data model folder, this is in preview. So this can basically, I can essentially create a new data flow based on something that's kind of external if I have the folder path basically provided over here. So this is basically, a feature in preview where this would be reading in an external data flow from another source, such as, let's say, ADF, if I wanted to do that too.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.